Hey guys, today we are looking at the Ryobi 18V Lithium 1 Plus backpack chemical sprayer, the P2840. Stay tuned because we're going to open the box, see what's inside, and then try it out. Alright guys, before we dive into this one, gotta give a viewer shout out. Normally we wait till the end, but as you can see, this one was highly requested by David. So David, this one's for you. Now jumping right in, you guys know the drill. We're going to talk about some of the things it comes with, some of the specifications on the box, and then we'll open her up. The first is, this comes with the battery and the charger. So you don't have to buy a battery or a charger. This is actually a fairly decent starter kit if you need a backpack sprayer. Now, some of the other features, it has a 4-gallon tank, a 4-foot hose. The pressure goes up to 60 psi. It has an adjustable nozzle, and obviously being battery powered, runs off the 18-volt Ryobi 1 Plus system. So it's compatible with any of the batteries you may already have. All right, now we'll go ahead and open her up here, see what we have inside. First out of the box here is the operator's manual. Next, it looks like it comes in a couple of pieces here. Kind of see inside the box there. First out, we'll grab the charger. So we have here the P118 charger. Does all of the 18-volt 1 Plus batteries, the NiCad lithium 18-volt and lithium plus 18-volt there. Down in here, we have the 2 amp hour lithium 18-volt battery. This is the P190, so got that one here. Next, this is the case or cover for the battery. So there's a little case that goes onto the mount. We'll pull that out here in a second. It also has the sprayer. Move this out of the way. Start setting these down here. We have in here the nozzles. So it also comes with the rubber gaskets, or the different rubber loops or pieces to replace those if needed. Have that. The hose. And again, it is a 4-foot hose. Let's see if we can get this all out at once. That out of the way. Backpack here, box out of the way. And it does look like the hose is attached, so you don't have to attach the hose, it already comes pre-attached. But that is all out of the box. So we have our charger here. We have our 2 amp hour P190 battery. We have the cover plate for the battery. Have the backpack and sprayer all in one unit here. The wand or the extender, and then the sprayer nozzles with the additional replacements, and the operator's manual. All right guys, so the first thing that we're going to want to do before we set up the sprayer is throw this new 2 amp hour battery in the charger and get it charged up. As we've said before on this channel, the batteries are typically shipped with less than 30% of a charge, which means you're not going to get a lot out of them off their stock level. So we'll throw it in the charger and get that started. The box advertises that this 2 amp hour battery can spray up to 40 gallons. That's refilling this 10 times. So we may have to try that out in a future video. Now that we have the charger and battery going, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the other pieces here on the table that it comes with. First is, if we look in this bag, this has the nozzle, which is a jet spray nozzle. By default, it has that one attached on a 45 degree. So you can either use this as is, straight, or you can use the 45 degree attachment to put it at a 45 and put that on the wand. It also comes with a flat head. So you can, if we open this up, this allows us to do a flat or sharp line spray, and it's got the additional O-ring there that we can put in and put the O-ring behind it. There we go. So now we could use the flat or sharp nose, the sprayer, and we can add the 45 to either one of those. So we have those and a 45-degree attachment. It also comes with the replacement seals. So there's a handful of little rubber seals or gaskets, O-rings here as well. So you can replace these, and in the operator's manual shows you where and how to replace those. But there they are. So we have those. Next up, we have the wand itself, and the wand attaches to the sprayer here. So as we see here, it already has the O-ring or gasket there. We can go ahead and attach that like this. And we've got the wand attached. And then if we want to do the jet or stream here, we can go ahead and attach that as well. Just like so. For this, we'll go ahead and use the 45. So I'll take this off. We'll throw on the 45 here and put on the jet stream. There we go. Now for the wand itself, looks like we have here a lock. So there's a pin there that allows you to flip forward and it locks or unlocks. See that there? So we slide that red thing forward. Now, one thing that concerns me about this is that all of this is plastic, very, very plasticky. So especially where your handhold is and where this lock are, all plastic, this whole section here. Kind of be nice if they were maybe a little bit more durable. The handle or the stock feels fine, but this clip and the trigger are very, very plasticky. Not sure how much wear and tear and abuse that's going to take, but otherwise, not too bad there. Next up here, the battery compartment. This just clips on the front. So we just push that into place. Opens up. Now, it does leave the bottom open, so it can drain, I assume. It's more of just a protective housing. It doesn't actually seal anything. As you can see on the bottom, it is open, but otherwise it's going to keep it from any side spray or down spray. But if moisture gets in there, it can still drain out. Next up, we'll take a look at some of the features of the backpack itself. These straps feel fairly durable. They've got kind of a mesh lining. If we turn the pack around here, it has a breathable back, so your back's not up against the pack itself. Padded lumbar support there at the bottom, adjustable straps here. It doesn't have a cross strap, which might be nice. It does appear to have the hose, or the wand, can store on either side. So it's got a clip on this side. Clip that into place, and that's pretty tight. But we can clip it in there, or, again, that's really tight, especially for plastic hose, or we can clip it on this side. If we come over here, really tight, there we go. So either side, that's kind of nice, depending on how you want to store it, how you want to wrap the hose around it. Not too bad. So that's the frame. Now, one thing that's really impressive about this frame is metal. It is a heavy-duty backpack frame with bolts and screws on it. So it seems fairly durable framework there as far as the frame goes. The tank has an opening on top, plastic lid here, and a filter. So a nice filtration system there that is removable, so you can remove the filter. A nice filter on top, and a nice big opening, especially if you're pouring big quantities or if you have a big container that you're pouring. Nice big opening, and you can fill quite a bit of it while it filters through. Again, plastic top. Now, one thing that's interesting, and I don't know if it was damaged in shipping or what, and it doesn't affect the handle any, but this one did come with a broken flap here. I don't know why that's broken. The other side's fine. And I don't know what it's for other than look. Doesn't really affect the performance, but this little plastic piece is broken and cracked there. So kind of interesting. Not sure why or what happened there, but lid goes on like this. Now another nice thing is it does have the gallon marks on both sides. So if we flip it around, or rather it has the measurement on both sides, gallon on one side, liters on the other. So up to 15 liters or 4 gallons on this side. So conversely, you've got 15 liters here and 4 gallons on this side. So you can measure up depending on how much you need to put in, or if you're diluting a solution, you can measure out how much you need and then fill it up the rest of the way. Last thing on the pack is the on-off switch. Now it is on the bottom, and we'll have to try this out and find out if that's a decent placement or not. But right here on the bottom you have the on-off switch to start the pump and pressurize the hose. Right here, looks like it'll be on your left hand underneath. Now one other thing we want to test while we have it here is the battery compartment. The size of the battery compartment specifically. This is a 1.3 amp hour battery, so the same size as the 2 amp hours. And obviously it fits in there just fine. You can see there with the battery housing closed, plenty of space. If we pull that out here, this is the new 3 amp hour battery. So the new HP battery, the lithium plus HP battery. Go ahead and slide that in there. And obviously there fits just fine. Now what we're really curious about, and we haven't done this yet, so I'm really excited to see how it fits, is the new 6 amp hour battery, which is bigger than the 4 amp hours. So if we open that up and slide the 6 amp hour, there it goes. That was kind of interesting. I don't know if it was just the slide or what's going on there, but slid in okay, and closes with space. I can get my finger in underneath the case or the housing and in between the battery. There is plenty of space there. So they were very generous on how big they made this case or cover. Even accepts all the way up to these new 6 amp hour batteries. The P193 batteries fit in here. So that gives me hope that the 9 amp hour batteries will also fit inside here with that much space, and potentially any future batteries if they make them even bigger. I can't imagine. That would be quite the battery, but pretty cool. All the batteries, all the ONE+ batteries fit in here just fine, just like that. All right guys, it is empty, but we're gonna throw it on and just kind of get a feel for what it feels like when we put this on. The first thing I'm gonna do is put the sprayer or the wand on the pack, because I'm curious if you can get the sprayer while it's hooked. And again, initially this is really tight, so I'm just gonna do the one. There's two hooks or notches that it can hook onto. We'll just do the one, keep it on this right side, and then we'll throw the backpack on. Now it's built nice so you can set it on a table or surface, and if we adjust these straps around, they do slide. That's one thing that'll be interesting, is the straps, the backpack straps slide along the framework, and that could be interesting. I'm not sure if that's a plus or minus. Definitely makes it for a bigger opening, but if the strap goes around the back there, you could be caught in a tricky situation. But if we slide those around to the front, got those both on the front here, we will just carefully slide our pack on and adjust the straps as needed there. So the lumbar support is in a really good spot, at least for my frame. I'm about 5'10", 180 pounds. Not bad. Straps are okay. They're nice and thick. They're not overly padded, but they definitely do have some padding to them. Again, adjustable straps. Yeah, let's see if we can get to the wand. Again, we only have I only have one in, and man, that's tight. But, I mean, that could loosen up. Again, I don't want to yank too hard on it. Plastic. It's not like you can stow this mid-spray. I can't imagine there's any way to get around to that. So you'd have to be a lot more flexible than I am, which most people probably are. But we've got the sprayer here. Now, left hand, back on the back here, if I reach around, I can feel the on-off switch there. You can hear that. So I can reach it. That is doable. Now it is, you got to be able to put your arm all the way around to your back. So as long as you can touch the middle of your back, you should be able to reach this switch there. Otherwise, if I don't bump the wall, feels pretty comfortable. Not too bad. Plenty of space here. Now, if you wanted to use it with your left hand, you're going to reach the maximum of what you can pull this hose. The hose is only 4 feet long, so depending on, again, on how long your arms are, going left-handed there might be an issue, but otherwise, right hand on the right side definitely has plenty of length for me, for how tall I am. That's going to work just fine. Now, it does feel, one thing I didn't point out about the handle here is it does feel that you would use your fingers to throttle or engage the sprayer here. So your palm would rest on the top, and it's got finger holds for your fingers here. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't use it with your thumb, but it definitely seems to be designed that the handle will be in your palm and the trigger here will be with your fingers, and then the trigger lock will be engaged with your index finger there. So just something I thought I'd point out there. All right, guys, one last thing we want to do before we fill it up with liquid is get a dry weight. So we'll do a dry weight and then a wet weight. If we go ahead and put it on here, we'll lift it up and put it on to the scale here at 13, a little over 13, and with the battery, almost 14 pounds, around 14 pounds dry weight. So with nothing in it, no liquid, you're looking at about 14 pounds there. And now we'll go fill it up. All right, guys, we have it all filled up. Now we put a full 4 gallons or 15 liters of just water in this, just water this time. Now, one thing it recommends that you do is remove the battery. So make sure the battery is not in when you fill it up. So remove the battery when you fill it up. That's what we've done. We've just put regular water in here for this first test, just to make sure that it's running the way that it should. We've left the filter in, but it does say to put the filter back. If for any reason you take the filter out, make sure to put it back in before you put on the lid or cap here. Go ahead and do that now. Make sure that spins on. And we just make it snug. I'm not doing anything too overly tight. Again, this is plastic on plastic, so we're not gonna over tighten that, but it's good and snug there. Now, one thing that we noticed while we were filling it up is that it's really heavy. 4 gallons of water in a pack is really heavy, and our confidence in these straps is waning just a little bit. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how long these last. They are double stitched, but that I could definitely see if you were moving around a lot with these straps and 4 gallons of liquid often, that could wear pretty quick. But we'll see. Obviously, this isn't a long-term test. We're just doing a quick review here. So now that we have the water in it, we'll go ahead and open up the battery compartment here. Take our battery, slide that in. Close the cap. And try it on. Again, it is nice that it sits on a table or surface fairly independent, because it allows you to put it on. Now, that's one thing that could be difficult if you're filling it up on the ground. It might be difficult to get it up. Now, I do feel there is a lot of sloshing with 4 gallons and a little bit empty, or a little bit on the top there. The sloshing can throw you around, but it's not bad. It kind of wants you to bend over a little bit, but otherwise it doesn't feel too bad. I expected it to feel a lot heavier. Lifting it, there's really not great places to hold on to it, and so it feels awkward and heavy, but on your back, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm impressed with how it feels on the back. One thing to note, make sure to tighten up all of your connections here, especially the release here. This is a pressure release on the bottom of the handle, or rather on the top of the handle. There's a little pressure release there. Make sure to have that nice and tight. And we'll go ahead and turn it on. Get it nice and pressurized here. There we go. And it's good to go. So now that it's all pressurized, we'll take it outside and try it out. All right, guys, so here we are outside. What we're gonna do is spray a couple little sections kind of on the wall, kind of a little bit everywhere, just to give an idea of what this sprayer is able to do. Now, one thing I noticed, not knowing this sprayer very well yet, I can't tell which way is on and which way is off on the pump. So having a little button or something, I mean, obviously once you get to know the sprayer, you'll know which way is on, which way is off, and you can hear it when you start to spray. But just a little silly thing that could be better is having a little dot or some kind of raised bump or something that lets you know when it's on and when it's off. It feels like if it's towards you, it's on, and if it's away from you, it's off. But we'll flip it to what I think is on. Sounds like it. Grab the sprayer here. And if we adjust the hose, it's right about there. And right now we have the direct tip and the 45. We'll try out the fan blade as well, but direct tip and 45, we'll go ahead and give it a spray. So we can direct that a little bit more, and you can adjust the directness of the spray. That's quite a bit of liquid that's coming out, so pretty impressive so far. We can soak a good area pretty quick, or if we tighten that up, so if we go as tight as possible on the nozzle here, it's almost a complete fan. It's almost a mist. So that's your mist, is tightening it all the way up. It gives you a mist. If we loosen that, let's see how much it lets us. So you can take it all the way off, but if we loosen it to about where I would say the max is, we'll go ahead and yeah, you don't quite want to go that far. Otherwise you're going to get wet. But yeah, pretty direct. Not exactly a direct stream, but pretty direct. One other thing you'll notice is while I use this, it's got a light hum, so it's not bad as far as the sound. The wind is probably louder than the pump itself, so not bad in using there. No leaks. Doesn't appear to have any leaks other than the initial when we didn't have this tight, but otherwise everything else looks good there. And we can just spray. It feels great. As far as the sprayer goes, you can really go to town. Spraying there. So this would be nice for a whole bunch of applications. 4 gallons and being able to spray, that's a really good output. 60 PSI coming out of that. It's that's powerful. That's got a kick. It actually kicks just a little bit when you pull that. You can see it gives. It's powerful. It's got a kick. It's more than I expected, honestly. Decent hose there. We'll try the lock. So if you wanted to lock it, I don't have to pull the trigger. And again, it does pretty good there. All right, guys, we have the flat blade tip here. We'll go ahead and unscrew the other. Go ahead and just put that on there. Adjust that just a little bit there, okay? Now, another thing that would be nice is a place to store the tips so that you could keep those on the pack. It doesn't really appear there's a place. You can put them in the top here. There's a little bowl or indention. The worry there is if you got too rowdy, you might flip it out. But we'll leave it in there, see how it does. We'll put the wand back up there, and then slowly, without damaging the pack too much, slide the pack on here. And again, this is the one thing that's probably not as convenient about it, but it does stand up on its own, so that wasn't terrible. Go ahead and grab the wand here, like that. Again, we've got the blade or flat tip there. The pack is still on, so we've got it on here, and we'll just give this wand a spray. We'll move over to a dry area here and just cover like that. So it's definitely more of a misty blade, not real strong or direct. Yeah, it's kind of a fine mist, but it does a pretty good coverage area if you need a blade style. I'm not sure if I prefer that though. I think I like the adjustability of the other tip, being able to give it a more direct or a more conical or cone shape. The blade works though, it works well. Probably not my preference, but again, depending on the application, get pretty close here to it. And there you go. All right, guys, so we just finished using the entire 4-gallon tank, or the 15-liter tank here. Now, a couple of things. As it starts to run out, you'll hear it. There's an audible. There's no trigger, nothing that turns it off. It continues to try and run and pull liquid, but you can hear the difference. All of a sudden, it sounds very different, sounds dry. You can hear it. In fact, maybe we'll turn it on here, and you can kind of hear it sounds like it's trying to work, but nothing's actually pumping. So it's fighting. So you know when to turn it off, and hopefully, if you're able, you can release the trigger here and then hit the off switch so that it doesn't continue to try and pump, because that's one of the things it's wanting to pressurize the hose. Now, another thing that we noticed is there's still a little bit or quite a bit of liquid, more than I expected to be remaining in here. So what we're going to do, I've got a measuring bowl here, and we'll go ahead and just dump out the liquid. Set that on top of the case there. Now, and it's pretty interesting inside, but again, there is a lot of liquid. We're gonna just pour this out. There's 2, 3 cups, 4 cups, more, just over 4 cups of liquid. And we'll show you inside here what it looks like on the inside. But it's just a little hose that sits towards the bottom and pulls the liquid. So if it gets slid or jostled to one side, it no longer can pull from the bottom. But again, this one cut off or didn't want to pull liquid at about 4 cups. So that's how much you're gonna have at the bottom of the tank when you're done. Again, give or take, depending on how it sloshes around, but so that you don't burn up the motor or don't wear out parts prematurely, just something to consider. There's a lot of liquid left over that you're gonna need to account for, either put back into the jar, I assume, or whatever you wanna do with it. Probably not advised to be transferring it back and forth, but just so you're aware, that's what you can expect. So guys, to finish up today, we're going to talk about some of the things we liked and some of the things we didn't like about this sprayer. The first is the construction of the frame and the tank itself are really well. Even the hose is really good quality. Where we think that it started to lack were in some of the other pieces, but again, the frame, the tank, and the hose were all really good quality. Battery compartment size and the fact that they give you a 2 amp hour battery that can do advertised 40 gallons worth of spray is really cool. The spray nozzles themselves worked really great. We're especially fond of the adjustable nozzle. The flathead is also nice depending on your application. Some of the things we didn't like, the straps definitely are questionable. As far as reliability, not sure if they're going to last. Overall comfort was there, but the quality of these straps, especially with that 4-gallon load, is in question. Not sure if that will survive. Again, the plastics on the handle, not sure if they're going to survive as well. Definitely a lot of plastic parts right here where you're moving the pieces a lot. I would prefer to have more durable parts where things are being moved often. You're having this, this trigger action. I would, again, prefer to have a little bit better quality there. Otherwise, another thing that we noticed is, and this isn't a good or a bad, but something to note, is you can drain the entire tank in about 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't take very long to go through the 4 gallons. With this 60 PSI, more or less just something to note. Again, not sure if that's a good or a bad, depending on your application. If you're trying to get through a job pretty quick, that'll do the trick. If you want to conserve and don't want to overspray, that might be a concern. So that's kind of our thoughts on this sprayer. Overall, pretty impressed. Very, very good sprayer for what it is. We're going to try it out and really put it through its paces. But for an initial reaction, again, not sure on the long term on some of these pieces and parts, but right off the bat, it looks good, just questioning the reliability. So we'll give it some more tests and see how it does. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. You know the drill. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, bell icon, check out our website and Facebook. And as always, comment below to let us know what tool you'd like to see next, just like David did. Thanks for watching. But it also has the option here I swear it does. Somewhere. Oh, it's in there. Reset. Take 2. Wand attaches to your sprayer here. So as we it's freaking heavy. Yes, it's freaking heavy. Hope we got all that. Again, we can go ahead and pressurize the system here. And we've got a leak. Ah, it's leaking all over me. So, you'll want to tighten the release here.